What is going on, guys? Lord Valor here, and welcome back to another video. Joya over here is laughing at me. She's never actually listened to me do my intro before or seen me do my hand motions. So she's just absolutely making fun of me. I haven't even introduced you, and you're already freaking laughing.
I don't know why I'm laughing, but it's just the way you said, "What's up, guys?" And I was like, I've heard that before.
I think I stole that, accidentally from, what's his name, Infinity?
There's a lot of YouTubers that go, "Hey, what's up, you guys?"
Yeah. So I am joined today by a friend of mine. Joya is here. Say hi, Joya.
Hello.
They
I was doing gas hits, but I just realized there's no camera.
This is very telling on how this podcast is going to go, ladies and gentlemen.
Hello.
So Joya is here. I have no idea what we're going to talk about. I just told her to come up with some topics, and then I would fly off of what she said. So
It's gonna be spicy.
it's going to be apparently spicy. So Joya, why don't you introduce us what we're going to talk about today, and yeah, just get us rolling.
Okay. Well, my name's Joya. I'm your very unqualified expert, but I have been requested that we talk about Dort-specific things. In case you didn't know, I'm a community development public relations major and I have a sociology minor. I'm going to YOLO. We're going to pull up some YOLO questions. Question says, give me a relationship advice. I'm single and ready to do the good Christian mingle.
Mingling is different than dating, though.
I can mingle, but I don't think I can date. I am not extremely qualified to talk about this. I'm glad that you called it the good Christian mingle. I think that wording is honestly pretty hot to girls. So, unless you are a girl, I don't know because these questions are anonymous. Basically, just be yourself. I know that's like extremely cheesy and cliche and you've probably heard it before, but you'd be surprised how many people save those just be yourself girly quotes to Pinterest, but then don't do it.
That's actually pretty true.
It's pretty base. Basically, if like you're looking to be in a relationship and you're like seeking out someone, I mean, yeah, go ahead and seek out someone, but honestly, it works better if you don't. Because when you're seeking out someone, like you're subconsciously changing like the way that you're
appearing. Yeah, you're changing your life choices.
Yeah, and honestly, it can be kind of stressful because whichever person you're trying to pursue, or maybe you're just trying to pursue everyone because you're thirsty, like myself.
Ouch.
It just gets stressful because you're constantly trying to like figure out what you're doing wrong and like make yourself looking attractive to others. But in reality, like, even if you're single, there's nothing that you're doing wrong, which is something that, like, it's taken me a while to learn. There's not the right person there yet for you. In terms of, like, meeting new people, just, like, go out with your friends, go to events that have guys at them if you want, and just have a good time. And, like, if the right guy's there, they're just gonna notice, like, how you're happy and having a good time, and they'll be attracted to you for you without you trying to like, oh, I'm gonna wear this dress when I go out so I'll look really cute, or oh, I'm gonna like talk to this person so that like they'll be interested in me. That just doesn't really work, and it's never really worked for me. And what you just have to realize is like being content with where you are is probably what's gonna be the most attractive to someone in the end.
Yeah, from a guy's perspective, I'm definitely not the right guy to talk about this.
Two unqualified relationship
experts and two extroverts in one room. We'll see how this goes. So just don't be afraid to shoot your shot. I'm literally the worst person to say that.
Same.
But that's what it comes down to, is knowing if you want to try. And again, I don't do this. But I will try to take my own advice and maybe shoot my shot. But just from a guy's perspective, you have to not be too scared to try and shoot your shot.
I will take my own advice and save less just be yourself girly quotes to Pinterest and instead actually like listen to them.
Yeah, and girls, please do not ridicule guys who try in a respectful way to shoot their shot.
Oh, Have I ever done that to you before?
No, I'm just
Yeah.
publicly
Yeah,
saying
yeah.
that there's nothing more embarrassing to a guy than a bunch of girls looking at you, whispering and laughing.
Okay, I've done that to you before. Sorry.
Yes, you have done that to me before, but it was in a context of being funny.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's just my advice.
One other thing that I will add on this topic. If you are asked out by someone that you're not interested in, and you're single and you're looking for someone but you're just not interested in a person, don't feel guilty for saying no. Because, like, that's happened to me before where I had told myself, oh, like, if anyone asked me out, I would go out with them. But then someone did. So it's okay to say no to a relationship if that person is not the right person for you, and you don't have to feel guilty for that.
Imagine being asked out.
Honestly, I couldn't until I was.
Yes,
Yeah.
the good Christian mingle. Can
I
I have a confession to make? That
Yeah.
was my question.
That's your question. I was like, this sounds like Jonah's wording.
That was my question.
Haha, well.
I had to make the premiere on my own podcast.
I literally knew it. It just sounds like a Jonah question. Okay. Next question. Let's do yours. Yours is spicy.
Oh, I know nothing about this topic, but I sent the same.
Nor do I.
I sent the same question that Joya did out to my friends on Snapchat, and I got one response, and this one response was, what I said, send some podcast topic ideas, and the response was drugs and the use of them in high society.
Okay, so do you want to talk about that?
I have no idea what to do with that, so you go for it.
Well, this is not something that I've researched a lot. I probably should. I personally, I don't know. We can talk about marijuana because I feel like that's, the most, hot topic issue that, there's the most information about. So, actually, I did learn about this. It's just taking me a long time to get to the point. And so I've been in some social work classes, and we had, a whole unit on drugs and use in high society, and basically, using drugs badly, or it has detrimental effects on a lot of other areas of your life, and it's really, really, really hard to use drugs, hard drugs, recreationally, in moderation, without becoming addicted or without going too far with them. Not to mention that they're also illegal, and I think it's important to
Well, marijuana isn't illegal
not in every state.
in every state. To be
I
fair.
don't know what I feel about recreationalized marijuana, but almost all of the other ones cocaine, meth, heroin,
Car
drug.
crashes.
Did I just say drug?
Yes, you did just say
Okay.
drug, but car crashes in places like Colorado have increased ever since they
Because
legalized
of it?
marijuana.
Yeah.
So that's definitely something to think about as well.
Yeah, and so I would say I am not super opposed to using them recreationally, other than it's really, really hard to use them recreationally without also using them in a bad way, and also don't use them recreationally if they're legal. So I would say if you have extremely good self-control, or maybe you also have an extremely good accountability partner, and you live in a state where marijuana is legal, and also marijuana is the safest drug. So it is sometimes called the gateway drug, but the effects of marijuana I believe are about as dangerous as alcohol. And alcohol can be pretty dangerous, but alcohol is accepted by society.
Well, alcohol I don't know. I don't know anything about drugs, but
Okay.
I think alcohol is that way. It's been even through the Bible, they drank wine.
Yeah, and actually
Granted, it was very watered down wine, and it took a lot to get drunk.
Yeah.
But
I mean-
and Jesus turned water into wine, for
Yeah.
example. So even I think Jesus is saying in moderation, it's fine. Because otherwise he wouldn't have given those people the wine, I think. I don't know. That might be me reading too much into
my
it. But
understanding of it is more that people drank wine just because it was what there was to drink. I mean, obviously you could drink water, but they didn't have as, like, advanced water purification systems, waterborne diseases, I would assume.
But wine is still made from water, right?
Yeah, but it's, like, I don't have any science to base this, but I feel like the, like, wine-making process, distilling process, like, it kills the germs because it's alcohol.
Okay.
I don't know. That's my understanding. Like, I'm not saying, like, Jesus did or didn't condone drinking, because obviously, like, Jesus drank wine. But it's different, like, in today's context, I think. And I also think it's very different, like, if you're drinking socially versus alone. Because when you're drinking socially, like, a couple, 2 glasses of wine maybe, or a beer, is, like, fine. And I know a lot of adults that I respect, like, can drink wine or drink beer or drink alcohol socially, and it's okay. But I think the problem comes when you are drinking it to escape, or you're drinking it because it's your coping mechanism. And it's really, really hard.
Right.
That line is super fine. So me personally, even though, like, I think it's fine if other people do it, I do not think that, or at least at this point in time, like, I'm not planning to drink ever in my life. And my reasoning for that is actually because I'm kind of an anxious person, and I would be scared that I would enjoy the calming feelings of drinking alcohol, even socially, that it would be really easy to become dependent on it because it would make me feel good. And so if you can do that responsibly, and there are people that can and do. I know lots of adults that drink socially and they're not alcoholics, but I also know lots of adults that drink socially and that was their gateway into becoming an alcoholic.
There's a book called Misreading Scripture Through Eyes of Faith.
Yeah, I read
which
that
actually
too.
It brushes on that in the introduction, I believe.
Okay.
Where it just talks about some people don't even want to. Some Christians think it's wrong to drink altogether, even though, like, I think that's more in the. I don't know. It's
in the Old Testament, like, the Levites' purity tradition said that they weren't allowed to drink.
Right.
But how much of that was fulfilled in the death on the cross?
Yeah, and I don't think there's a wrong answer per se. I think it comes down to personally.
Yeah.
Like, I probably will end up drinking a beer or two when I'm legal age. Like, I'm not gonna deny that I probably will, but. Yeah, that's just, and then you're going to completely steer away from it. And I think it's, again, comes down to knowing yourself personally, because you said it could be your gateway.
Yeah.
And then I don't think that will be a problem with me. So it's just knowing yourself, I guess.
Yeah.
Kind of comes down to that.
And kind of back to marijuana also, because what I was saying is, like, marijuana is, I would say, like, more on a similar level to alcohol than to heroin, meth, or cocaine, when, like, in terms of how I think about it. And honestly, like, I would say, like, same thing with alcohol. Like, doing recreational marijuana is not necessarily bad. But, again, like, this whole thing that it's a gateway drug, that basically means, like, if you do marijuana, you're a lot more likely to do some of the other harder things. And those have really, like, detrimental effects. And also just, like, the whole money aspect of it. Like, drugs are expensive, and also it's a little bit sketchy to have to buy them from a dealer because they're not, like, a regulated substance. So in some ways I feel like you don't really know what you're getting because they're illegal. There's no government control over it, and people could sell you far too much. People could say, oh, this is how much you can take before, like, you overdose, and there's not really, like, resources or information on that. Whereas, like, with alcohol, like, there's, like, the blood content levels and all of those, like, breathalyzer tests. So in some ways, and I'm not arguing for the legalization of these drugs, but in some ways, like, having alcohol be legal, it puts a little bit of control over it that can protect people who wouldn't otherwise make smart decisions because, like, they're legally enforced.
Yeah, and the argument I hear from people about drugs is people who want the drugs are going to get the drugs even if they're outbanned, right?
Yeah.
And that's what the same argument people use with guns.
Yes.
Not to bring guns too much into this.
Yes.
But people say, even if you outlaw guns, people are still going to find a way to get a gun if they really want to go shoot up a school, basically.
Yes.
So, like, I can see why Colorado just said, all right, we're just going to make it legal so we don't have to worry about
We're just talking marijuana here, not like meth.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, marijuana. That's why they said marijuana is legal, because they just didn't want to fight all the drug cartels that were going on, and they're just like, let's just make it legal, let's make it easy for people who want it to get it, and then we don't have to.
Yeah.
But on the opposite case, that introduced new people to the drug, it was illegal for them to get into it. So I think in the long run, more people would become addicted to the stuff. But I don't have any facts on that. I just said based on my knowledge of humanity and my view of the world, basically.
Yeah, and I would agree because I think there's a certain, this is something we talk about in social work too, there's a labeling theory called symbolic interactionalist. Guess you weren't guessing that I was going to use that term. Basically, it means like the labels that we give things in society like have stigma behind them and affect like how we view them. So according to this like perspective, marijuana is labeled as like bad substance, like illicit substance. So people that are on the rebellious side, but not like people that are right on the edge of the rebellious side who wouldn't do it if it was illegal because it's illegal and they don't want to get in trouble and it's hard to get it and all of that. There's still that stigma behind marijuana that means like, oh, marijuana is like something like the bad kids do. And once like it's legal, I think that's still a pull for people, even though like in the actual like literal definition of it, like it's not illegal anymore. There's still that label of like, ooh, marijuana, this for the bad kids. Ooh, I'm being rebellious by doing marijuana, and now like you actually can. So I
still think it's 21 or something in Colorado.
Yeah.
So like there's still gonna be students
under 21
in universities and high schools that are gonna be doing it illegal, and that's still rebellious.
Yes, and like having it be legal to adults makes it easier for those students to get a hold of it, I would assume.
Yeah.
But
yes, yeah.
I don't know.
Easier access to it.
Yeah, I basically just agree with Joya.
Because that's the thing with vapes, right? Let's talk about something that Iowa understands and went through way back when we were in high school. There were kids in high school that just had their 18-year-old friend go buy it for them, and they handed it to them, and it was as easy as that.
Yeah.
There was no extra steps. That's how easy it was for someone underage to get a vape. So, and again, that probably goes back to your marijuana point.
Yeah.
That it's legal, so they should have someone who's 21 go get it for them, and that's that.
I know high school students that are underage that have vaped.
No, yeah, exactly. I think everyone does.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Actually, about that, let's talk about cigarettes, because I personally think that, like, cigarettes should just be illegal. And I also think that there needs to be, like, more government crackdown on alcohol, but, cigarettes, or at least, like, I feel like cigarettes should be considered in the same category as, like, alcohol, which they kind of are, but again, it's like addictive substances. I feel like there needs to be less of them inside. And obviously there's other addictive substances, like you can be addicted to sex, you can be addicted to sugar, like, but I feel like nicotine and the negative effects of it are a lot worse and more pronounced in terms of health and in terms of like mental capacity in cigarettes, that they need to have more behind them. And that's like more government like prohibiting them. But that's something that's changed a lot through like the years of society too, because back in the 50s, like everyone smoked and it was just accepted, and there's been
doctors would prescribe it. It helps you calm down.
Yeah.
It's how you deal with stress, and that with their science known at the time, that's really what it did. But they didn't realize the long-term effects of putting a bunch of tar in your body, basically.
Yeah, and like it complicates so many other diseases. It just puts you at higher risk for a lot of things.
Yep.
But yeah, as the research came out, like I think the societal shift in cigarettes is a very powerful one. But there's still, kind of like I said with the marijuana, there's still like, I think most people who are chronic smokers started when they were underage. Mm-hmm. And I think like the reason people would start smoking,
or they were in the military or something way back.
Yeah.
Like that's definitely common. People smoked when they were in the military.
Yeah, and honestly, if like smoking makes you feel relaxed, as like with alcohol, it's not bad, but definitely I think
it's bad for your physical body.
I don't have a lot of research on this, but there's, I believe, a correlation between like alcoholism and PTSD, because like I was saying with like my personal anxiety, it becomes a coping mechanism way too easily. But I just feel like the dangers of cigarettes and also secondhand smoke, which is like an up and coming research area where like other people that don't smoke at all like can still get health damage by like living with a smoker, and pets can get health damage from living with a smoker. I feel like there still needs to be more to be done in that area.
Yeah, I watched a video it was a while back. It was like 3 or 4 years ago.
Other day.
I almost said the other day. It was not the other day. It was the other day 4 years ago. It was a video of a young kid. He'd go up to someone who's smoking. He's like, "Hey, could you?" He was like 12.
Oh,
he's literally this very small boy.
Aww.
He went up to people who were smoking with a cigarette. And he said, "Hey, would you like my cigarette? I don't have a lighter." And only one person out of the 10 or 11 people that he asked let him actually light the cigarette so he could smoke. The other ones were like, "Just don't start while you're ahead." So I think that's pretty telling too, is most of the people that smoke are fully aware that it's not good for them and they're just addicted.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. If we get another question up in here, let's do it. The last question just says, do something Dort specific.
So you wanted to talk about the meme pages. Let's not specifically name those pages, but I'll let you kind of do your rant about those.
So, I am in an unpopular minority that does not actually like the meme pages. For those of you that like aren't Dort people, Dort has had an emergence of meme pages about Dort. And some of like the common topics that are included on there is like when President Hoekstra went on spring vacation, and all of us had like those one-day wellness breaks, which didn't really do a lot. And then Dort had like an anxiety management workshop, which honestly, like, I think it's a really good idea, but the memes are just pointing out the irony of like a really hard semester mental health wise, like very difficult, no breaks, COVID restrictions, like lack of social interaction, especially as freshmen like adjusting to college. Like, it's been hard, and Dort has really been pushing this mental health anxiety workshop because of that.
But how many people, here's my thing, how many people are actually going to go to it that actually need it?
Yeah,
right?
That's my other thought.
It would probably be great for me to go, but I didn't, I half read the email and just kind of dismissed it. And I'm sure 34th of the student body did the same thing.
Yeah.
So like how many people that are actually need it are going to actually go to that workshop?
These meme pages are kind of making fun of the anxiety management workshop and being like, well, it's not doing enough.
Well, some of these meme pages have been around for the longest time, and they've just made fun of others. Well, it's become more political, especially this year because of the age we live in, sadly. Ever since COVID, election year was not great on it.
Black Lives Matter this year also.
All the political stuff definitely has diluted, I think, some of the meme pages and made them more political, which, whatever.
Yeah.
Go for it. Don't care.
Yeah.
In my opinion. Joya obviously cares.
Well, I just feel like, and people are not going to like this because you literally, like, I wouldn't say you have, like, a meme channel, but your channel likes memes.
Yes.
I feel like the satire and irony in memes, like, there's a lot of good memes, but I feel like the attitude of meme makers, like, if you're, I don't know, there's, like, a difference in memes. Obviously, like, there's good ones, bad ones. But I feel like that way of thinking about things and, like, picking things apart is not a healthy way to think about life. And, like, I feel like some of the ones on the Dort pages are kind of insensitive. And I personally, like, I wouldn't want to say that about the institution that I go to, because I go here because I like going to Dort. And
I think... there's times where they've crossed the line.
Yeah.
But also I think there's times when they're just pointing out, hey, this is a problem.
Yeah.
So like there's definitely a difference between going too far and speaking out against a problem.
Yeah.
Which is why I'm okay with these meme pages as long as, you know, they know the limits that they personally want to go to challenge authority or point out problems within
And, like,
the society.
I don't mind that, like, these memes are kind of picking apart the anxiety management workshop, because I kind of agree. Like, I'm very proud of Dort for doing the anxiety management workshops. Like, I'm glad that they've realized there's a need, but it's not a magic solution. Like, there's obviously a lot of other things
It's
going
not
on.
a switch.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
like, what they're pointing out is very good, but I feel like they're picking apart something with good intentions. And then earlier on in the year, there was a situation where, like, one of the meme pages had posted something about the administration, and President Hoekstra saw it and asked them to take it down. And since then, other meme pages have kind of emerged because they were upset that the president could make a page take down a meme. And I feel like that's a very fine balance between, like, the administration and the meme pages, because, like, some of the memes, like, go kind of against Dort's values. And there's, like, this whole argument of, like, oh, well, should the administration be able to regulate, like, what memes these pages are posting, or does that completely defeat the point? And I think that, like, you and I would probably disagree here, Jonah. I don't know. But I feel like, yeah, I think the administration does have, like, the power to regulate what content is being posted. And since, like, the first incident, there's a lot of, like, pages that have come out that I don't think the administration knows about yet that are actually posting, like, some pretty negative things about Dort. A lot of memes about showing up drunk to chapel, and getting drunk. And Dort prides itself on having a relatively dry campus. Like, I think that's... Okay, I know it's not a dry campus. I know people that drink on campus.
What I've heard from even in high school was, oh, Dort's the party school.
Really?
Like, yes.
Like, even
Dort was
Northwestern?
known as the party school.
Really? I never heard that.
Yeah, Dort was definitely known as the party school from what I heard in high school.
Yeah. But even still, like, I don't know. I feel like a lot of people are like, oh, Dort's a dry campus. Comments a lot, and I know that's something that, like, it's not, like, a super important value, but I personally, like, appreciate that. There's not as much alcohol here as, like, certainly you would have at public school.
Well, yeah, that's...
But
yeah.
These meme pages, like, are posting, like, a lot of content about, like, showing up drunk to chapel, staying in and watching a movie, or getting drunk with your friends. And I don't feel like that's very much something that the administration or that, like, the campus culture should be pushing for. And so I'm not really a fan of those, especially because there's, like, there's people that drink here, but it's more or less done in secret, would be my understanding. Like, you're not really going to go out and brag, like, oh, I drank with my friends, but I'm underage.
Yeah.
Until these meme pages started doing it. And I was kind of surprised, like, when I first saw those, because I was like, oh, like, that doesn't make sense. But maybe I'm just, like, a very sheltered person and I just didn't realize it. But I
think it definitely happens more than you think.
Oh, absolutely.
More than you're led on to believe.
I absolutely know that it happens more than I think. But I feel like it's not the kind of thing that should be made fun of in a meme. I feel like...
See, I'm a weirdo. I don't have Instagram, Snapchat, Twitter. I think all of them are kind of dumb and either have gone too woke for me.
You have Snapchat. Okay, sorry.
Snapchat's different. I use that mainly as a texting platform at this point because that's what everyone has.
For me,
well, really, some private corporations have gotten to the point where they can delete certain content, and I'm like, okay, fine. I don't need to use your platform anyway. I never have, and I'm not going to anymore.
Yeah, censorship in the media is, like, a thing.
It's definitely a problem. But that's not my point. It's just I've never gotten into it, and I don't need it. It's just another thing that's going to distract me.
Well,
but I definitely think that there's the reason I say that is because I really don't see the memes when they're posted. I just see them through other people. But I definitely, actually, I'm kind of going to agree with you. Some of the memes obviously go too far. But when you're talking about, does Hoekstra have the ability to take them down? Does he Can he, should he, I guess is the other thing, in which I don't have the answer to.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
that's a fine line.
It's a very-
There's a very delicate line, not a fine line. There's a very delicate line there from he's going to be suppressing someone's opinion of free speech and him saying, hey, this isn't in the best
Yeah, and
solution for, or this isn't the best way to go about saying this for Dort. It doesn't make Dort look great. So, like, I get there's a PR aspect to it as well,
absolutely.
for sure.
I'm a public relations major, and I would not want those things being posted from an organizational point of view.
And I think it comes down to, too, like, they're called, okay,
You can't say
sorry,
the name.
I will blur that out, but there's Dort in the name.
Well, okay,
right?
this one's called... Oh, I said...
I can blur that
Okay.
out as well. But some of them have
are better
something
than
to
other.
do with, or hints at Dort,
like Dort.
right? So,
Yeah.
like, I
you
think
seen
definitely
these?
if you're using the Dort name, then
Sorry, I'm distracting him by showing him memes. Go ahead.
if you're using the name, then I think Dort has definitely the right to say, hey, please take this down, because it's their name. But if you're just posting something on your own Instagram, then I don't think they have that right. I don't know. That might be me
Yeah.
grasping at straws, but I think definitely if you have Dort in the name of the thing,
And if a
then
ma-
they definitely have the right to
Yeah.
say, hey, please take this down. This
And
is
if
not
a
okay.
majority, and if a lot of Dort students follow the account as well, like these accounts have a lot of followers, and like, yeah, I was gonna say something. It also depends like how that like reprimand is coming through, and in the case of like the original one, it was in a comment on the page, and I honestly, and again, I'm public relations, so I study some of this. I feel like that was not a bad idea by President Hoekstra, because it's almost like he's playing on like the same page. Like it's a public comment, people can read it, like it's on Instagram, versus if he had just sent them an email asking them to remove it. Like I think he's like kind of playing to the level of the pages by using like that method. And like he said in the comment that he could appreciate a good meme, and I know like there's teachers and staff here that appreciate some of the memes, but this is also on the bigger accounts, like the newer emerging accounts. I don't think as many people know about, because I feel like as soon as the administration finds out, they're going to ask to have it removed. But
Yeah. It comes down to moral dilemmas, and those are
Yeah.
always a problem.
I would not want to be like the person in the administration that has to make the decision of, do we allow these pages to continue?
Because if we go back biblically, Jesus challenged authority a lot, right?
Yeah.
He didn't do it, obviously, in the form of memes, because I don't think memes existed.
No.
But he flipped tables in the temple, for example. He
Yeah.
ruined their whatever selling was going on and challenged them, obviously.
Yeah.
So, like, I think there's definitely a fine line
Oh yeah.
between challenging authority and making fun of and tearing down that community. But it's
Yeah.
morally, when is
Where's the
Dort
line?
allowed to take it down? When
Yeah.
is Dort allowed to say not allowed to take it down?
Yeah.
It's just, there's obviously a gray area there, and
Yeah.
it's difficult to
Yeah.
put a finger on.
And it's difficult too, because like there's so much student support for the meme pages. Like there's a lot of students that follow it that would be probably upset if they were taken down. It would be greater than just the person who's the creator.
Yeah.
But I followed some of those meme pages, and I was quite uncomfortable with the content. So I actually only follow one of the main four now, because I figure like the best way, and not that I don't, like I know some of the people who run the pages, and not that I don't love them, and not that I don't appreciate some good humor, and not that I don't like appreciate a good meme, but I feel like the best way for me to show like, hey, not all of the students are thinking the same way, is to just by not following them. And it's definitely, I've had a few situations where people are like, oh, like, why don't you follow the meme page? Like, you should follow me. And I was like, yeah, I am not following you, and I have thought that through. But, I don't know.
There's definitely room out there to make a meme page about Dort where you're actually making fun of the not making fun of the students, but making like siding with the
Yeah.
administration if that's what you
Jonah,
believe.
do you remember Simp for Dort Week?
No.
So basically, okay, this goes off what you're saying. After like the whole big debacle with like President Hoekstra's comment, I don't think they deleted the post actually, but I think the response was to create. It was called Simp for Dort Week, where all of the memes were like Dort positive memes. I'll show you because I liked that week. I liked all of those posts. Let me search.
See, and I think there's room for that.
Oh, and it was funny because they hashtagged like every single one like
Simp
for Dort Week.
That's a good idea.
Yeah.
That maybe call it something different because I think the word simp is just watered down bullcrap now.
Hang on, is this?
You could hold okay, this is gonna be my 5-second rant. You can hold a door open for a girl and get called a simp now. So like, fuck
Yeah,
that.
you can also hold a door open for a girl and get a girlfriend.
Shut up! No, that hasn't happened to me yet. Just because it happened to my friend doesn't mean it's gonna happen to me, Joya. Even though I wish it would, it's not going to. I think balance obviously is gonna be the key there, and the people who run these meme pages, I'm gonna say good for you for speaking out and
absolutely.
what you believe, because obviously that takes guts.
Yeah.
Especially because if someone doesn't believe what you believe, there's definitely a chance that you're gonna get ridiculed. Canceled? I'm not gonna say canceled because like on Dort campus, I don't think you're gonna get canceled. I think you're just gonna get ridiculed.
Yeah.
On a national level, maybe.
Well, yeah, but you're not gonna get canceled for running a meme page at like a tiny Christian college.
Exactly. That's why I said you're not gonna get ridiculed, not canceled.
Yeah. This is a good question. Okay, we're gonna take like not call it 180. We'll go like with a 120-degree turn here. Why is growth so important to the Christian faith? And what is the danger of remaining in our comfort zone?
So, why do we need to grow in faith? Why is that important?
Yeah, and, remaining in the comfort zone?
I think grow in faith is sometimes mistaken as spiritually. I have to have a stronger faith. I have to have an experience. It has to be strong. Where I think sometimes just learning also just grows your faith, because there's obviously in the Christian culture there's this, you have to have big experiences, you have to grow, your faith, for your love for God has to grow, where I think sometimes you can just grow in faith by learning about your faith instead of obviously you need it all aspect. Obviously, but it's not always about growing in your faith in love for God or love for Jesus or appreciation for what Jesus did for you. It's growing in your knowledge, all those other things.
And to take this back to Dort, in some ways I think it's very interesting going to a Christian college where everyone's Christian and a lot of people have grown up Christian their entire lives. A while ago, one of my friends did a devotional about familiarity in the faith, and how it's not we're not growing anymore, but in a predominantly been Christian my whole life, went to Sunday school, went to Christian school, did all of the checkbox things, you get so familiar with it that I'm not going to say it's hard to grow, but I'm going to say sometimes growth or grace seem less amazing because you're used to them. And that's kind of what I think the second part of remaining in our comfort zone gets at is we're very comfortable with the faith now, I would say. And so it's finding those faith-based things that are going to make you a little bit uncomfortable.
I think comfortable should be switched with the word complacent.
Oh, yeah.
I think because you need to be comfortable with your faith, obviously, but you don't want to come complacent with where you're at in your faith.
Yes.
I think we should distinguish that difference.
I really like that. And it's been hard because even with Bible classes and Christian worldview, I kind of feel I may be too complacent. because it's hard to know what, like, the next thing to do is. Because, like, there's kind of this narrative, and I'm not saying that this is bad at all, that, like, when you're in first grade or kindergarten, you go to Sunday school. And that's, like, the next thing for your faith journey because you're going to learn Bible stories. And then you go to Christian school, and that's, like, the next thing. And then you go to a Christian high school, and you go to GEMS, and you go to youth group, and you join a Bible study, and you lead in chapel, and all of these things. And, like, that's what you should do next because you're learning how to, like, apply your faith. And then you go to a Christian college that is, like, has a Christian worldview, and you take theology classes, and you join campus clubs, and you volunteer, and all of those things, and that's what you should do next. But what do you do after college? Never mind. There's Christian institutions, but those institutions are the church which we've already been a part of. Like, how, it's hard to know, like, unless you get, like, a Christian career, which you can, but I just don't know that I will.
I know I probably won't.
Yeah.
Because I'm not going to be making Christian movies.
Yeah.
Because in my mind, Christian movies are set towards a specific audience. They don't reach many people. And I want to make movies that allow me to reach people who are not Christians, but will get the idea that, hey, that's interesting. A Christian wrote this. Let's learn more about him. And kind of stuff like that.
Yeah, whereas for me, like, in community development, there is a ton of Christian community development organizations. And yeah, I actually would like to end up at one of them. But I still think...
You still don't know fully.
Yeah, I don't know where I'm headed. And also, and I don't know what I think about this, there is something to be said for, like, does Christian development work, like, exclude people who aren't Christians? Because I know there's definitely some Christian development organizations that they're like, okay, we're a homeless shelter, but if you're going to stay with us, you have to attend a chapel every night, and you have to read your Bible that we provide to you. Is that turning people away from help if you are an agnostic and you absolutely will not do that? Or is that also just meaning that people aren't really the people in the shelter aren't really in the faith, they're just reading the Bible and going to chapel because they need the help, but they don't really care? Is that necessarily, like, the best way to help people from a Christian perspective? Because it's very, very hard to separate, like, I'm helping people because I'm a Christian and I believe in it, but I'm also helping people as a job. And there's certainly a lot of, like, I would say very, very good, like, non-Christian development corporations that do wonderful work. And there's also a lot of very corrupt organizations that are Christian. So in my mind, like, a career where those two, like, job and Christianity are, like, so entangled, I don't know.
I understand, like, I have a lot of respect for the way they do chapels. It's not required.
I love the
because
chapels.
They want you to, I think where it comes from is they want you to make your faith your own. They don't want you to be saying, hey, you have to do this, or you have to go to chapel because you have to grow in your faith. It comes down to, do you want to grow your faith? And they don't want to, they want people to start making, if they haven't already, and my high school and your high school too, because we went to the same high school, required that we go to chapels. And I think that's fine in high school, but I think in college it's definitely good that they're allowing someone to say, hey, I want to choose. I want to choose to grow my faith and not be forced. Because once you're forced to, then you feel like it's something, you don't get as much out of it. Like, if you choose to go to chapel, I think you get more out of it than if you're forced to go to chapel. Because if you're forced to go, the people who don't want to listen aren't going to listen. But if you go to chapel, you're getting the people who want to listen.
How often do you go to chapel?
See, that's also my problem is I have a 12 o'clock
class,
and I kind of want to eat lunch. So, like, I get my food to go, and I sometimes watch it online. But I never get fully through I only get through, like, half the sermon before I have to, like, leave.
The scheduling of chapel does make it hard for certain people to attend, and I've heard that from people before. And I'll have that next semester, but so far I've always had that hour after free so I can go. And I have benefited a lot from attending chapels. And it's been very good because I can also go with my friends, and sometimes if, like, they're controversial, I'll have someone to talk to afterwards. And I also try to go to praise and worship a lot, although sometimes there are just nights where I'm like, I have a lot of homework, or even like nights where I'm just like, I really don't feel like worshiping tonight.
Yeah.
And I don't like I would not say that that's like, if I'm not feeling like worshiping, that's not like a good excuse for not worshiping. But I think it's very reasonable to feel that way.
Yeah.
And I certainly like have benefited a lot from attending chapels and attending the message and like hearing the messages. But yeah.
Yeah. Is that it? Is that everything?
Yeah, I imagine so.
I think we touched on all the questions
We talked
that
for
were.
a long time. Yeah.
Anyway, so that's gonna wrap it up for this episode of Lifecast. A little bit different.
Woo.
Joya's doing the peace sign. She's doing her classic see ya peace sign. I'm not even done talking yet. It's like cutting me off. I'm kidding.
I can do this one too.
So thank you guys for listening to this episode. For the new people who might be listening to this because Joya was on, thank you for listening. I like to have different people on, so if you're interested and wanna talk to me about something on my podcast,
do it.
Go through Joya. You can probably contact me. I'm totally willing because I need podcast ideas. I'm always running out of podcast ideas, so and I always love having new people on.
Boom.
So if you are interested, make sure you contact Joya to get through me.
Contact you.
Or just contact me if you know me.
I'll link my business email in the bio.
Haha. Okay.
Sorry.
No, so yeah, just get to me somehow if you're interested.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure what the future of this channel is going to be. We only have 3 weeks of school left, and my summer job is going to require me to not be around technology for a long time.
Really?
So we'll have to see where that goes. I might have some friends just upload some Smash content. I'm still planning.
Smash.
I'm still planning that out, trying to figure out how the summer's going to go. But thank you guys for watching. When life gives you lemons, don't do drugs.
Make orange juice.
No, don't do drugs.
Don't do drugs even if life doesn't give you lemons.
You really never have listened to this podcast.
Roasted.